Hey, what's happening, guys? Welcome to the Industry 4.0 podcast or live stream, I guess. We also do post this to a podcast, by the way. You guys can subscribe on iTunes, the Intellic podcast, Stitcher, Spotify, all the major podcasting sites. Alan, welcome. Phil Saboa up late from Australia. Thank you for joining the live stream today. Ed Fuentes, welcome. Hey, Dave. Hey, Mac. And Anders, welcome everybody. Dan wouldn't be complete without you. So, every week we go live at Tuesday noon Central Standard Time. And the whole point is to talk about Industry 4.0 current events. We'd like to answer your questions from the Industry 4.0 community Discord server. We're no longer accepting signups for the mentorship program. Like, the registration period has closed in June. We've got over 270 people in the program now, which is it's like mind blowing. So you guys, there was an email that went out today. So we do have an orientation call this Friday. A lot of you guys reached out to me. They're like, Zach, hey, I'm excited to get started. Where do I begin? So you guys can log on to the portal at IIoT.university. If you guys are not in the mentorship program, you guys can go to IIoT.university and take the free IIoT mini course. And join the Discord server. But it really helps us to kind of put our mentorship program into cohorts, which we launch twice per year. So it's really exciting to be launching that now with a lot of people. Like, we more than doubled mentorship in the last month. So thank you guys. Hey, Jeff. Hey, Ariel. Hey, Ben. And we have Ed, Johan, and Lee Hunt on the in the live waiting room, but none of them have their cameras or mics on. So if you guys want to turn your camera or mic on or come on the live stream. Oh, there we go. All right, so we'll bring Lee on first. Hey, Lee, how's it going? Welcome.
Good. How are you guys doing this afternoon?
I'm doing great. So 4th of July. Happy holidays, everyone. How was your weekend?
Beautiful weekend here in Atlanta.
Nice. So Lee, why don't you introduce yourself to the group and tell us what brought you here?
To the Industry 4.0 community?
Yes, sir.
All right. So good afternoon. My name is Lee Hunt, and I manage an IIoT organization for Georgia Pacific. We provide my team provides services to about 100 of our manufacturing sites, and we've been kind of in this digital transformation space, I'll say, as we've defined it, for quite a long time. Just by dumb luck, happened to catch some of the videos by Walker as I was Googling unified namespace and what that meant, and it kind of watched one video, then two, then three, then half a dozen, and then reached out and kind of found this group and joined it, and it's been great. It has really bridged a knowledge gap that quite honestly maybe didn't even know existed, but it's been good. Excellent.
I want to come back to you, Lee, in a second, but Johan, thank you for coming on the stream. Welcome. If you can hear me. Johan, welcome. Johan, are you in the mentorship program? Oh, yeah, he dropped. So Lee, I know you joined mentorship, and you've got a team that you're likely going to be wanting to lead. So that brings up the question: what are your challenges that you're facing leading this team in your manufacturing sites?
My biggest challenge is we've got lots of teams. So we've been as I'm learning more in the community and hearing from other companies. I feel pretty good because I think from a company standpoint, we've been pretty active in this space. We've got a whole team of data scientists. We've got a center, we call it our collaborative support center, a whole kind of group that does nothing but provides kind of remote monitoring services and kind of monitoring analytical of our operations data. But we've been very go get this data source, bring it to the central team. Get this data source, bring it to the central team. It's not. We've not necessarily had an organized, consistent approach to get these very data sets, and there's many, right? And to get them in kind of this unified namespace architecture and probably the standards and governance that are required there. So I'd say our biggest challenge now is trying to get into a model that we can scale versus, the firefighting that we've been doing for quite some time.
Excellent. And that's why I'm really glad that you're here, because, Georgia Pacific, I know Michael Brown was talking that you guys are a large AWS shop. We had the AWS basic training last month, and we're kind of going to dive deeper into the IoT stack for AWS. That's in Mastermind this upcoming end of the month. But yeah, so what are the questions that you have about the unified namespace? You've been doing your research. You know that that's the right approach, but what are the questions that you may have when implementing it?
Well, I think that's been my struggle that I'm getting past now as I watch more content is how do you implement? Like, I understand the concept, but we've got, I don't know, maybe a dozen or more different kind of manufacturing sites and with varied processes within those sites. So what does unified actually mean when you've got so many different, types of operations, types of different assets? And how do you implement, that? And then what do you do? It took me a long time to connect to the fact that the unified namespace isn't necessarily storing the data. Storing the data is just a piece of that. Like I said, I think I'm finally starting to connect some of the details, but it's more about implementation. Like we've got a lot of tools. So we've been an Ignition user for probably a half a dozen years or more. We're just starting to bring HiByte into the environment. We just signed an enterprise agreement with them. I think they're first. So I think we've got all the tools, but I don't necessarily think we've got the knowledge yet of how to put it all together. So that's kind of still the gap I have. I'm trying to close is all right. I'm connected to the value. And I'm starting to understand the concept, but how the heck do I implement?
I have a question. So you have 100 plants. What resources are available at a typical plant? I know that varies based on customers. Some like to let the plants have a lot of autonomy. So they, plant A might do it differently than plant B. What does it look like at in your landscape?
So to be clear, the plants that I support, I'll say our smaller operations, our lumber sites, our plywood sites, OSB, our box plants, and the staffing size of those facilities is, I'll say the larger ones may have a process controls engineer on site that is pretty much run and maintain. I mean, that poor guy is, most of what he's doing is firefighting, keeping the equipment running. And at a lot of our locations, they don't have any resources. They're relying on, I'll say, kind of my team. We're supporting all the IT infrastructure in that space. We've got what we call digital process optimization, DPO. I've got a team of actually true process controls engineers in the organization. And when somebody says, "Hey, we need this data from the PLCs," they'll go out and write alarm logic if that's what we need, or go get the data. Or we've got contract help from system integrators. So there is not much help at the local level at all. At least the sites that I support. And the large paper mills, think about Brawny Paper Towels, AngelSoft. They have a lot more resources, but I don't know the resources spending much time in this space.
Okay. No, that makes sense. All right. So at the plant layer, when you guys are like procuring equipment, you guys may not have already implemented your minimum technical requirements. So that way, when you're procuring new equipment, it's at least adopting, it at least meets your minimum technical requirements.
That's a big gap. Right now, we don't have that yet. We're definitely not that mature. I mean, we're just getting to the point. We're finally getting, I'll say, security requirements built into those specifications. We don't have the data requirements built in, other than we know we want it, right? Every now and then we'll have a business, we're putting in something new, and we will ask for the data sets that we've already been extracting from similar assets into it, but it's sporadic. It's not consistent.
Okay. Yeah, that's a big opportunity there is, because you're buying new equipment, you're expanding all the time. Once the new equipment starts coming in and natively into the IoT ecosystem, then, you're already halfway there, right? Then you just got to deal with your brownfield stuff.
So, well, that's kind of what I said before. I'll say building that architecture, that unified namespace, we're how to implement it. Like I'm still trying to figure that piece out, right?
Yeah.
To even know what that specification is.
Yeah. So the way that we like to implement it is we like to roll it out in the form of a proof of concept. So a high value target. But even when you're talking about proof of concept, you're already kind of one step ahead of where we like to start, where we like to do a digital transformation maturity assessment. We, work with the team to inventory the business, inventory the intelligence, and then we identify where the gaps are, and we come up with an architecture for the proof of concept that implements the unified namespace.
Yeah.
During that process, we're working with all the people that are on board, so that way it's almost like a little bit of educational learning. We don't call it a workshop, but it's like a 1 or a 2 week thing where we go through and we have meetings, every day, or 1 or 2 meetings every day with the 5 different core groups: your operations teams, your engineering team, your IT team, quality, and executive leadership. So we kind of get all of those parties on board with the proof of concept. So that way there's like this continuity that exists. So that way, people know where the unified namespace is. They know where to go get the information, right? And everyone's kind of excited. So that basically primes the runway for the proof of concept to, lift off. Once the proof of concept has implemented the unified namespace, everything, if it's at the plant layer, then you publish that up to your cloud layer, and then you take your plant layer and you try to replicate that at your other plant, and then you publish back to the namespace, to your enterprise namespace. So, what we like to do is just go through that training process, go through that discovery phase in the maturity assessment to identify where's the best place for the proof of concept, get your team on board with the, what the proof of concept is going to be, what the unified namespace is, what digital transformation, even is. A lot of this stuff is just getting everyone on the same page with the definitions of IIoT and Industry 4.0. Then you get your unified namespace and your proof of concept, right? So it's like, it's kind of like going to the doctor. You got to fill out the form. You got to, talk. You got to get your vital signs checked before you can actually see the doctor. So that's kind of how we, we found that works the best. Could we go install a unified namespace at your plant? Of course we could. But if no one knows what it is, right? No one cares what it is, then the success of the proof of concept could be amazing. But if it has no, exposure, right? If it's not being highlighted, if it's not like the most important thing that the company's kind of working on in the digital space, then, it's almost a wasted effort. We call that an Industry 3.0 project. So, but that's how we like to do it. And do you have any questions based on how I explained that?
No, not at all. You guys have talked through that enough. I think I roughly understand the process. Where I'm trying to connect to is how do I talk about that internally within our own organization to kind of define, as a lot of companies, right? There's not enough hours in the day for the work we've got going on. So how do I talk about what you guys bring into the mix as being, worth putting our attention to? It's different than what we're doing today, So I'm still learning the buzzwords and trying to, so I can talk about it with our internal leadership much better than what I'm capable of doing right now.
Okay, that's good. That's helpful to know. I was thinking about doing like a webinar in a month or two, like, overcoming objections in the DTMA process. Oh, hey, Jonah, he said he's having headset issues, and also we have Max, but I'm not sure who Max is. Yeah. So, hey, Max.
And where my head's at is maybe just look at what it would take to do that digital trend, that assessment, maybe in one of our businesses that we support, and use that as kind of to then be able to talk about it in a broader organizational sense.
Yeah, no, that's a great idea. And then that way, it's really about priming the runway and loading the spring, compressing that potential energy and then just letting it launch when it rolls out. But if you guys have got high bite and ignition, you definitely want to make sure you get the architecture in place right first, and then maybe do a small scale DTMA that is at the scope of a plant layer. So it's not a 2 or 3 week enterprise DTMA, but it's it's getting your feet wet DTMA and setting up the pilot for success.
I actually like that thought. I like that thought of thinking about it as a plant, kind of level unified namespace. Start there. I actually like that thought.
Hey Max, how's it going?
Okay.
So
Hi.
So I don't know if I said this earlier, but the swag packs are available for shipment now. So I sent out an email with a form, fill out the form completely with anyone in mentorship. You're getting a swag pack with it's got some 4.0 swag. It's got some Phoenix contact swag. It does not have a PLC Next starter kit. Okay. But everyone in mentorship is going to be getting one of those. And yeah. Hey, Max. So welcome
Zach,
to
you
the
said
stream.
you sent that email out already?
I think it went out like a minute before I went live.
Oh, all right. Okay, I see that. Okay.
So yeah, I'll share it in the Discord link too.
Gotcha.
Yeah, we're really excited about that. Sorry, it took a little bit longer than we'd hoped. So welcome, Max.
Hello, Zach. How are you?
Good. Where are you joining from today?
I am from Minsk, Belarus. So I'm a representative of Rosen Robotics company, which made robotic arms. So I just want to see what's going here and what my potential customers are thinking of and about.
Awesome.
And
So
how can I help them and so on.
Yeah. So who are the customers that you're working with?
So usually it's like some industrial automation companies who would like to do automatization in a cobotic solution, not like fully industrial, but cobotic, when robotics are working with people.
Oh, robotics, you said?
Yeah, robotic arms, and are working side by side with people.
Okay, cool. And where are you at in like the learning journey?
We are full production company, so we start from servo motors and build entire robotic arms. So what we developing and thinking about possibilities. So we have like robotic arms for now, two models, and the third is under production and testing for now. And we have like a full solution. It's not industry maybe, but it's more about food industry, hotels. It's a robotic barista cafe. So the robot can serve the coffee the same way as a human. So it's not only serving, but preparing milk, coffee, and other options. Some additional into this coffee and so on.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So how does the events in the current state being made available from that edge device into the IIoT ecosystem? Have you guys, made it IIoT ready yet, or thought about that?
We are thinking about it because computer vision and all this stuff are third-party solutions because we are mostly concentrating like full production cycle about exact robotic arms. So we are thinking about welding, about peak packaging, place, and so on. And we have, of course, we have a lot of competitors, some big companies like KUKA, ABB, and so on. But we developing and thinking a lot, and have some advantages also.
Max, what's your handle on Discord?
I'm sorry.
Max? What's your Discord handle? Is it just Max?
So
Max G. Max yeah. I want to see. Did you happen to introduce yourself here, or share something in the Discord about your company, or maybe in the robotics channel? I'd love to learn a little bit more.
We have YouTube channel also and site, so I can put some link into the chat, so you all can see what's going on and so on, and also
Awesome.
can ask questions if you're not against it.
Awesome, very cool. Do you have any questions for me or for the group?
I would like to see what's going on and what faced they problem, what problems they faced, and so on, and how can I help them in their business duties and some automatization and so on.
Okay, maybe Lee can answer. So maybe Lee works for the end user. Maybe he might be able to shed some light on that topic. So in regards to Max, would you rephrase the question, like in regards to you specifically the challenges around robotics, or what's the question?
Whose question? I'm sorry.
What are the challenges that manufacturers are facing when implementing robotics, or
Usually they struggle to set up the equipment because usually it involves high educative programming. It's not so easy for CNS engineering programmers, and usually implementing robotic solutions demand a lot of knowledge from such people, and so we try to do it easily. And for example, our arm in the easiest way can be programmed only by 4 buttons, like open gripper, close gripper, remember the position, and so on. So only 4 buttons, and then you can access to the whole program during the computer, and maybe make some changes to the whole program. So and it's take less than, as I am a salesperson, so it takes me about an hour to teach how to do it, and it's not so difficult. So it's like I can't say for that it's for everyone, but most people can do it.
Okay, so you talked about you have the barista application. What other applications are you seeing?
Barista is a full ready program, so it's like a not big island, like 2 meters, and it's equipped coffee 24 hours a day mostly. It takes only about an hour to prepare, to serve this equipment, just to change the coffee, milk, water, some supply, cleaning, and so on. And all other time, this equipment can do it itself. And for example, in 24 hours, it can serve more than 300 cups of coffee, different one.
That's pretty impressive. And how would you I imagine you'd probably have to use more than the 4 buttons to program the barista, right? Like, could I program the barista if I wanted to?
Pretty much, yes. For example, you have some process, any in industry, like with capacity less than 6 kilograms for now, and you can, for example, handle to move objects, to operate. Even, for example, we have case for CNS machinery when our arm can change the tools, can do allowed operations, and so on. So if you, for example, have produce a lot of something similar, you can program it, and it can do without your much time demand. So like this.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, Max, I would actually like to to learn more offline. So
okay, I will share information.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. Yeah, thanks for coming on.
So thank you.
All right,
I will on track.
We'll see you, man. Bye. Oh, that was cool. Yeah. His mic was had a little bit of background noise though, but so yeah, like how are you finding the Discord? Is it being useful for you?
You asking me, Zach?
Yeah.
It's very useful, but I can't keep up. Like the content comes in so fast, and it's just, I guess one of the strengths of it is kind of being a little bit unstructured, but I just have a hard time keeping up with content. And there's so many topics that like I want to dig deeper in and get more information because of a question somebody posted. It's just sometimes hard for me to find my way around. I'm getting better, but this is my first experience with Discord, being part of this group, which I've got 2 teenage sons found was quite humorous.
We're doing an enterprise custom training program for another company. And one of the things that we talked about was doing a private Discord server just for their community. So, they've got, a large team, and they're doing not just their OT, IT, like their digital transformation team, but their whole entire company is going to be going through everyone's going to be going through some of the training, right? Like, and then depending on who that person is, they're going to be going, they're going to fork out, go to more technical route or more non-technical route. It's kind of similar to mentorship and mastermind, but it's completely custom for an enterprise, and it's just, meant for them. So, but one of the things that we're talking about doing with them is doing that private Discord server. And it's funny, like they ended up choosing Teams, and I was like, okay, that's fine, but it's just funny because it was like, because their IT team already approved Teams. So I was like, oh yeah, but you're kind of missing the point though of what we're doing here. It's like not everything's going to just have to be approved by IT or whatever. But no, it'll still work. But I don't know. I like Discord is a lot less taxing for me, like than Teams. Like when I'm in Teams, I don't know. It's fatiguing for some reason. But Discord is very, I don't know if it's like the look and feel of it, or it's like it just doesn't feel like work. It just feels like fun. Teams, it just feels like work. So, but however they end up using we actually set it up where one of the questions channels that they have in their Teams gets sent out automatically to our channel. So we can kind of, that's how we're trying to scale this, right? We got 275 people in mentorship, but there's coming to be a point where these larger enterprises need, they need a custom program, and they need an account manager, and they need, customer success. So, it's a whole new thing. So that's something that we're really excited about. And, but yeah, I would recommend if I was leading a digital transformation team, I would create my own, like, maybe Slack, or, I like Discord because it's free, but I would create my own, digital transformation, Skunkworks, Discord server, just for like organizing all the internal stuff that you've got going on. Right. Like, and maybe it's something like the other thing is, like, if your server has errors, you can just have it send error messages into Discord. Right. There's just so many cool things that you can do. And then from a developer's perspective, it's just low friction. You can just hop on Discord, send a few messages, and then the search functionality is really key. So if you ever, that's the whole point. It's so much information, it's hard to organize it all. But if you search for it, like one of the tools that I've been looking at is Copia.io. So I just, search Copia.io or Copia, and then I can see anyone who's asked a question about it or anyone who's answered a question about it. The other thing that's really cool is when we have a new person on the stream, Max. We'll bring Max on in a second. But the other thing is when you're like, let's see. So here's the Discord. Yeah, obviously you can kind of like when there's a thread, you can just click on this you can click on the link to the message that it was replied to, and it'll just, take you to that message, right? So you can kind of follow the whole entire conversation. So that's why replying to a thread is important, but it's not like a sub thread like Slack, right? Discord has just a continuous stream of, messages per channel. And, I like that. So, but yeah, it's about communication, collaboration, and education just as much as it is about any specific technology, right?
Yeah, I'm getting better. I did watch your video, your Discord training.
Awesome.
Perfect. There we go.
Well, I don't want to take up too much of your time. I know you're, a busy guy, so I do appreciate you coming on the stream today and, asking questions. Everyone in the community, say hi to Lee. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being a member of the community. And our mission here at 4.0 Solutions is to help save and create middle-class jobs in the United States, specifically by helping manufacturers do more with less. So when we have key individuals and leaders like you, Lee, in our group, it really does help us force multiplier impact. So I appreciate that. Thank you. All right, so Max, if you do have your camera and mic.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, welcome back.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, yeah, Rosam Robotics. Okay.
Yeah, I have something with sound not so clear.
Oh, no, yeah, no, it's fine. Yeah, so today, like, let me go back over the comments section, see if anyone has a comments on the YouTube section. Hey, Travis. Welcome. Welcome, Travis. Thanks for joining the server, man. Appreciate it.
Maybe
Travis,
someone have some questions.
yeah.
I'm ready to ask. I'm a sales representative, so
Yeah.
I'm not deep into the all mechanics, but more or
That's a
less
good
I
one.
can answer.
Phil Saboa asked, what programming languages do you use for robots, or is it a pre-configured learning software?
We have we developed by ourselves a special program, and you can use it while you are programming. So it's like our own interface, and we spend a lot of time doing it. So it's kind of friendly enough.
And the name,
But
name of your,
hmm?
and what's the name of your company again?
Rosum Robotics.
Right. I'll put that in there. So, Phil, good question. Yeah. Okay. Does anyone have any other questions for Max while we have him on here, or if anyone else wants to come on the stream? I did leave a link to join the StreamYard stream in the Discord server general chat. So, yeah, normally we have like a prepared set of questions for Q&A, but due to this last weekend being like a holiday weekend, and I took an extra day off on Friday to move up here to Utah, so I actually had like a 5-day weekend or something. It was crazy. I didn't even feel like I worked. I was like, wait, what is this again? I forgot how to do this. So no, but it's good to be back. It's good to be here in my new office. I got my sit-stand desk, which is pretty cool. So I could just do this. I could just sit down and just adjust. And I've got my microphone boom. Like everything's set up where I don't have to like break it down and set it back up again, which that's what I was doing when I was at WeWork. And then before I was at the WeWork office, I was just streaming from my bedroom.
Okay. I'm too from my bedroom, so we have 8 p.m. So it's out of work time, so it's okay.
Awesome. Yeah, welcome, Travis. Thank you. So yeah, I think I'll probably just end the stream a little bit short today, unless there are any other questions. No, actually, I do want to share some industry news. So we were doing like a weekly news segment called 4 Things Industry 4.0, and it was a little bit, we bit off a little bit more than we could chew at the time, right? And we have a tendency to do that sometimes, but I wasn't able to keep up with that cadence. So we'll probably do like once a month. But one of the things, I'll just do this. I'll go over the news updates here this week because there's some pretty interesting ones. There's actually more than 4 of them because it's been a couple of weeks. But so if you guys are wondering where those updates are, yeah, they just, I didn't have enough time to keep up with that cadence. So let me share, stop screen, share screen. Emmanuel, Industry 7.0. Okay, so yeah, so industry news. So Mario shared, PTOX shared, DBT Labs raised $150 million to help analysts transform data in the warehouse. So data transformation is a big deal. And let me see, I'm gonna pull up the, I'll pull up the article here. Fishtown Analytics, the company behind an open source analytics engineering tool called DBT, or Data Build Tool. Today announced that it has rebranded as DBT Labs and raised $150 million in a Series C round of funding with a $1.5 billion valuation. Analytics engineering for the uninitiated is a relatively new role that describes the process of taking raw data after it enters a data warehouse and preparing it for analysis. Oh, that doesn't sound right, to be honest. You definitely want to normalize it, and you definitely want to prepare it for an analysis prior to putting it into the data lake. Otherwise, you'll end up with a data swamp. And you don't want to do it after the fact. You want to do it in real time. So you can have real-time AI and predictive AI. But I guess anything is better than nothing. So it's the process of taking data after it enters the warehouse and preparing it for analysis. The role itself serves a bridge as sorts of between data engineering and data analytics, right? Most of data analytics is getting the data just to analyze, right? That's like integration. Most of integration is doing point-to-point integrations. Once Industry 4.0 and the unified namespace came out, the integration time dropped by 99%. Now we could actually solve problems, you know? Spheres requiring them to transform the data into a usable form that can easily be queried by others, marketers, or, you know, engineers, etc. DBT Labs juxtaposes the role against that of the data analyst in this description. Can you guys, hold on, you guys still see this?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you can see it. Okay. Where's the description? And now analytics engineers provide clean data sets to end users, modeling data in a way that empowers end users to answer their own questions. While a data analyst spends their time analyzing data, an analytics engineer spends their time transforming, testing, deploying, and documenting data. You know, an analytics engineer, I think of them as like data ops or data engineer. You know, you're spending your time modeling, testing, transforming data in a tool like HiByte, right? If you're using the unified namespace. If you're doing it after the fact, after it's all been dumped in the data lake, then you can use a tool like DBT Labs. Founded in Philadelphia in 2016, DBT Labs has spent the past 5 years designing a tool set to help data analysts create and disseminate organization knowledge, as it puts it. Organization knowledge, yeah, right? Digital transformation is about exponentially increasing the collective knowledge of an organization. And if what you want is based on what you know, then as what you know changes, what you want will exponentially change. As what you know exponentially changes, what you want will too exponentially change. So that's one of Walker's famous quotes. What is DBT exactly? In a nutshell, DBT is a command line tool that enables data analysts to transform raw data by writing DBT code in their usual text editor and then invoking DBT from their command line. DBT then compiles. Oh my God, this is really complex, right? This is a tool for developers, right? Your operations engineer is not going to be writing this code. That's one of the advantages of HiByte, because it's so easy to use. You could give it to anyone and it's just like plug and play, right? I mean, I'm not saying this is a bad tool. I just, you know, there's an audience for this, and it's not your typical plant engineers that are not well adept in code. That's part of the problem, right? You can't just have one data team doing all the data for it in an enterprise. Oh shit, my camera died. You know, you can't just have one data team. You gotta empower the people on the plant floor to be the data team. And they're not gonna use the, you know, they're not gonna be using a tool like this. They're gonna be using a tool like HiByte because it's easy to use, right? Sorry, my camera died here. What the hell happened? So yeah, no, it's I mean, if they raise $150 million, they're obviously providing value to organizations that have this data swamp, right? If you have this data swamp and you need to transform it after the fact, you've got, you know, there's value there to be captured, obviously. Ideally, you transform it before it goes into the data lake. That's why we're so high on HiByte. Here's the story so far. According to Handy, he developed DBT initially based on his own experiences as a data analyst. I worked as a data analyst for a decade and a half, and it was always slowed down by terrible workflows, emailing spreadsheets back and forth, and downloading massive .csv files, saving SQL files on my desktop, he said. Right. You know, we've lived this on the OT side. He's lived it on the IT side. Fast forward 5 years, and Handy has said that the DBT adoption has grown 200% each year since its launch. And in Q1 2021, his company's enterprise revenue doubled year on year. The main driving force behind this, as is seemingly the case with just about every new technology these days, is the rapid transition from on-premise infrastructure to cloud computing. In this case, cloud-based data platforms such as Databricks, BigQuery, Snowflake, and Amazon Redshift. It's really bothering me that my camera's not on. There we go. All right, cool. Yeah, so that's DBT. It does sound interesting, and it does. I would like to know more and figure out, is that something that we can, take it from DBT, model it, and publish it in the unified namespace? If so, it increases its utilization, or it increases the ability for us to use it for manufacturing. To digitally transform manufacturing from the plant floor up. It enables that, right? But like I said, most people are not going to be writing code. Cheryl said, well said, Zach. The manufacturer need is to democratize data usage. Yes. Joseph said, something is wrong with the audio today. There's clipping. There's clipping sometimes. Oh, let me see if, is it getting too loud? Hello. Sorry about that. So that's DBT Labs, $150 million in a Series C. Here's another news on IT security. McAfee is gone, but unfortunately,
I'm here just to want to have some maybe conversation, questions, and so on, and understand what's priority for your clients, not only concerning data, but also like everyday duty in automation, because as I understand Industry 4.0, it's about data mixed with decisions, mixed with automation, and this kind of.
yes. Yeah. Yeah. All these tools play into it, right? Like here's a tool that's playing against what we're trying to do. Rockwell to acquire Plex Systems for $2.2 billion in cash. This is a loss for the industry. Plex system. Well, if you've got a Rockwell entire closed ecosystem, first of all, sorry, but second of all, now you actually have an ERP that's tightly coupled to your system. So for those people who are in bed with Rockwell, now you have an ERP. But if you're not, it's a $2.2 billion waste, in my opinion. But combining Plex's cutting-edge cloud technology with Rockwell's existing software portfolio and domain expertise will add customer value and create more ways to win. The acquisition will also accelerate our software revenue growth and strengthen our annual recurring revenue streams. This is their word. This is their words for their nails are going to be digging deeper into you. Blake Moore, the chairman and CEO of Rockwell, said this acquisition will accelerate our strategy to bring the connected enterprise to life, driving faster time to value for our customers as they increasingly adopt operations. Or as they increasingly adopt cloud solutions to improve resilience, agility, and sustainability in their operations, said Blake Moore. Combining Plex cutting-edge cloud technology with Rockwell's existing software portfolio and domain expertise will add customer value and create more ways to win. Yeah, that's what we said. Rockwell believes in the power of data and technology to transform manufacturing and industrial operations. The problem is they believe in a closed ecosystem, power of data and technology, right? They try to monetize the power of that data and technology rather than democratize it. Plain and simple. Someone from Rockwell come on our podcast and tell me different, We've used Plex in one of our smaller businesses, and I hate seeing Rockwell gobble them up. Yep. See? So that's why I said it's a loss for the industry. Anyone who was using Plex before, Plex could have went one of two ways. Could have went more open. They could have adopted IoT technology. They could have been playing nice with everyone, including Rockwell. But Rockwell chose to gobble them up. That's from a customer. It's not just from me. It's from someone using the software. So, yes, their revenue will go up next quarter because they've acquired it, and Wall Street will be happy. But Wall Street's not on this podcast. Wall Street's not helping manufacturers on the plant floor. So, it is a shame. but it's industry news nonetheless. Let's move on. Intel Industrial Summit. Oh, that's pretty cool. Let's see. Someone shared this. Intel Industrial Summit 2020. Wait, what? That's old. Best practices for accelerating Industry 4.0 transformation. That's pretty interesting. I do want to check that out. I'm going to pin this. It's not necessarily news. I think this should have gone in like Industry 4 or event links or other links. If you guys are sharing like a YouTube or something like that, just under this links category, just share it there. This is an interesting one. Siemens makes the first industrial 5G router available. It's really awesome. We've been talking about 5G a lot, and it's nice to know that we can go to Siemens at a 5G industrial router. And I think 2022 will be like the year that 5G really takes off in manufacturing. We've got the first set of products now. Siemens, if you don't want to come to us, we'd love to review it. But in any case, in successful use of prototypes for private 5G network, let's see what they say here. Site connectivity to public networks, Scalen's MUM856-1 also supports integration into private local 5G campus networks. Siemens is testing this use case in their own automotive showroom and test center in a prototype of a standalone 5G test network, which is based on Siemens components. The 5G infrastructure here comprises of a 5G core, a distributed unit, and several radio units. Siemens also has built another prototype of a private 5G infrastructure in its plant in Amberg, and the Karlsruhe plant will be equipped soon. In these systems, Siemens is relying exclusively on its own independently developed products and solutions. In addition, Siemens is currently implementing a private network technology for a 5G campus network with a focus on industrial use in one of the Deutsche Messe AG exhibition halls in Hanover. The private 5G network will be ready for use in early September, and this network can be used by exhibitors during trade shows and outside of trade shows times, and can be used by companies for tests and field trials. Pretty interesting. Thank you for sharing, Mario. Moving on. Microsoft's new security tool will discover firmware vulnerabilities. This one is shared by Cheryl. I'm wondering, will vulnerability scanning tools like this make IT groups more supportive of data sharing and interconnections with OT networks, or will it just create more opportunity for IT to mess with the production via inconvenient updates? We're going to take Windows Update, which people already at least know, and push the IoT and edge devices into that model. Today, Refirm needs you to provide the firmware files, but Microsoft plans to create a database of device information. Weston says, you plug CyberX into, and it discovers the device. It monitors them, and it asks to Refirm, do you know anything about IoT device X or Y? Hopefully we've pre-scanned most of these devices and can propagate this information. And for anything else we don't have, there's drag and drop interface to do custom analysis. Let's check this out. Cheryl, if you want to share your thoughts on that article, then please do. Thank you for sharing it. So Microsoft's new security tool will discover firmware vulnerabilities and more in PCs and IoT devices. I will say it does make me a little bit nervous because, Microsoft, I don't know, I just feel like they've kind of failed to lead a little bit in IoT, right? One of the things that we talk about is how they kind of steer in towards Azure, and I think this is another case where they might try to steer you towards using like Windows IoT Edge or something, and maybe I don't want to use that. Maybe I want to use a Linux box on the edge. Is it good? Is it bad? I'm not sure. Obviously security is good, but historically Windows updates have been bad for control systems, and so where's that happy medium and balance between those two? So, sorry, my camera died. Go on, next one. Thanks for sharing, Cheryl. All right, so we got a new one from Sesame. So thank you, Roy, for sharing this. But Sesame announced a new $4.8 million RFP and up to $4.8 million in funding for smart manufacturing, innovation, and research. Sesame announced their new RFP. The Smart Manufacturing Institute is driving efficiency and innovation for U.S. manufacturers through the funding of education, research, and smart manufacturing technology. The RFP allocates up to $4.8 million for workforce development, enabling technology R&D, and smart manufacturing innovation platform capability development and smart manufacturing innovation projects. So this is actually really interesting because one of the things I wanted to talk about with Sesame more is how does the smart manufacturing innovation platform work with the unified namespace? How does it work with HiByte? Can I make my smart manufacturing innovation platform and those smart manufacturing profiles? Can I integrate those with HiByte? Right. Obviously we love HiByte, and we love to use smart manufacturing profiles and just import them straight into HiByte. Like that's what I would love to do. So this is an RFP. If you guys are, I want to say, go apply for this. Someone in our community should apply for this. So moving on to the next one here, we've got Mario. Oh wait, no, this is just a conversation that happened in here. Oh, this one's cool. Starlink partners with Google Cloud. So I shared this from a YouTube video from TechSpace, and it's pretty interesting because we've talked about Google Cloud a lot, and famously, Google Cloud is like nowhere to be seen in manufacturing. Part of that's due to the Google has a reputation of kind of not being very friendly with your user data, and so consequently manufacturers haven't been really willing and able to trust Google with their their cloud needs, right? AWS and Azure have been kind of the main two, and we're seeing even some customers kind of switch from Azure to AWS for the reasons we talk about. But this is interesting that now Google Cloud is going to be able to deliver edge of network capability and remote network connectivity to remote locations all over the world, actually, like even over oceans and in the middle of a desert or in the middle of a forest, where previously there was no cell service, there was no internet. Now there's not only internet connectivity, but there's direct access to the cloud. Jeff Rankin said he's looking into it for Penn College. That's pretty awesome. Yeah. So, and I think that the Starlink partnership with Google Cloud is also probably somewhat motivated or incentivized by the beef that Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos have against one another. So, and I think even Amazon's doing, right? Isn't Amazon doing their own Starlink constellation? Amazon's doing their own internet constellation. So, the feud never ends between those two. So, but it is good for the industry to have another option for connectivity and also for cloud services. I would like to see Google Cloud used more. Ian Scarrett shared 10 critical flaws found in Codesys industrial automation software. Let's check it out. So what are the 10 critical flaws? To exploit the vulnerabilities, an attacker does not need a username and password. Having network access to the industrial controller is enough. Oh, that's scary. The main cause of the vulnerability is insufficient verification of input data, which may itself be caused by failure to comply with the secure development recommendations. The Russian cybersecurity firm noted that it detected vulnerabilities in a PLC offered by Wago, which, among other automation technology companies such as Beckhoff, Contron, Moeller, Festo, Mitsubishi, and Holosys, use Codesys software for programming and configuration for the controllers. I think also what's that one? Bedrock Automation. I think they use a variant of Code Assist for their platform, but I'm not sure. I think it's like I'm not sure if they, made their own version or if they white labeled it, or if this security protocol affects it. But I do remember Bedrock Automation using a Code Assist like designer. 6 of the most severe flaws were identified in Code Assist version 2.3, a web server component used by Code Assist WebVisu to visualize a human-machine interface in a web browser. The vulnerabilities could potentially be leveraged by an adversary to send a specifically crafted web server request to trigger a denial of service condition, DDoS. Write or read arbitrary code and from a control runtime system's memory, and even crash the Code Assist web server. All 6 bugs have been rated a 10 out of 10 on the CVS scale. There's the bugs. Separately, 3 other weaknesses have a CVS score of 8.8. Disclosed in the control v2 runtime system. Wow, this is not good. So if you guys are using this, update to, I think they got version 3 now, but lastly, a flaw found in Code Assist control version 2 Linux sys library could be used to call additional PLC functions, in turn allowing a bad actor to delete files and disrupt critical processes. An attacker with low skills would be able to exploit these vulnerabilities. It's funny because now it's like once they found the vulnerabilities, then they advertise the vulnerabilities. So in theory, someone could read this and be like, oh, there's a vulnerability I can exploit now. But, that's like the whole Tesla thing. When people were driving their Teslas, or, they weren't supposed to, but the people that were illegally driving their self-driving Tesla without someone sitting in the front seat by like tricking the car, well, they I think it was, I don't know, one of the companies pointed out how easy it was to trick the car. And then it's like, well, now you just showed everybody how to do it, so, but, at the end of the day, it's your job to secure your control system. Moving on here. Exclusive US to give ransomware hacks similar priority as terrorist attacks. Yes. This is something I mentioned the other day. Hello, Sri. Hey, Jeff. That's my grant proposal for Penn College, actually. Nice. That would be awesome. I really hope you get that, Jeff. That would be sick. Jeff Rankin, and for those of you guys that don't know, he's an instructor at Penn College. He's on all the live streams, and even during when school was in, he was like showing our live stream to his classroom. And it was awesome. Like, we've heard that a couple of his students went on to get internships. One student's working on the Arduino IIoT gateway, connector, Spark Plug B connector for Arduino Pro. So this is really cool. Yeah, this is what the US should do. The US should just say, hey, look, there's no messing around here. This is the same level as a terrorist attack, which it is. So moving on. This is really cool. So Raspberry Pi silicone update. So the RP2040 is now on sale for $1. So it's a $1 microchip, which is kind of crazy. So the Raspberry Pi Pico, new kind of product, the first microcontroller class board. So now Raspberry Pi is kind of like entering more into like the Arduino type world, and even they're even collaborating a little bit. I think on one of the chips they have an Arduino with a Raspberry Pi silicon, but no, yeah, I think they have an Arduino. Yeah. So this silicon, this RP silicon, can run on one of the products that Arduino makes, and also Adafruit and Pimoroni. So what does it have? So it is the RP2040 is our idea of the perfect mid-range microcontroller based on years of using other vendors' devices in our own products and projects. It stands out in 3 ways. 2 fast CPU cores, a pair of ARM Cortex M0 Plus cores clocked at 133 megahertz provide ample integer performance, use one core to run application code, and use the other to supervise hardware, or run application code on both cores with free RTOS or MicroPython. That's pretty cool. So typically when you're writing Python code, it would be single core unless you specifically optimize it to run on dual core. But if you use free RTOS or MicroPython, it does that for you. There's plenty of RAM, 264 KB of RAM on that little chip, which is pretty cool. That's like, I think that's how much RAM my first Dell computer had. Or no, that was a megabyte. Yeah, no, it was a megabyte, like 128 megabyte or 256 megabyte. Yeah, when I went from like 512 megabytes of RAM to like 2 gigs, man, Windows XP never flew faster. Flexible I/O. So yeah, 264 kilobytes of RAM. So much smaller. A fully connected switch connects the ARM cores and the DMA engines to 6 independent RAM banks, allowing you to squeeze every last drop of performance out of the system. And last but not least, you have flexible I/O. They provide the usual interface for hardware, UARTs, SPI, and I2C controllers, USB version 1.1, and a 4-channel ADC. But it's the programmable I/O subsystem that makes the RP2040 stand out, enabling software implementations of protocols including SDIO, DPI, I2S, and even DVID. So all of this is packed into a 2 millimeter, 40 nanometer silicon and a 7 by 7 millimeter QFN56 package. That's pretty crazy. There it is right there. Wow, that's pretty crazy. All right, guys. So that's gonna be it for the for today's stream. Thank you guys for joining. Jeff, good luck on that Sesame proposal. Hope you guys get it, and we'll see you guys next week. Peace.